just a man out to help the common folk, like a Robin Hood. But for one moment, the lifetime bans, that lifetime ban felt so good. And Mr. Hassman was actually one of my first students. I think he was the number second person that ever bought a boot camp from me when I didn't think I would sell any. But boy, it felt good to do it. I almost even ragged on him a little bit to say, hey, nobody passes the audit. Man, that was amazing. All right, so now let's go back to what we got to do. What's a glow? I don't know what that means, but I don't watch TV. Unless it's something about sports. I'm a man, Blizzy. You would watch documentary. People with high estrogen levels always watch documentaries. But real men don't watch docs. Everybody knows that. We watch sports. We also, cause trouble. All right, we got gap up. Sorry, guys. I didn't know we were ready to go. We got QQQs. We got 1% gap up. Apple had earnings. There's a whole host of probably other companies that have earnings. Everything is just looking like it's a breakout. I suspect today, guys, is a gap and grind day. What I mean by gap and grind day is these are the worst fucking days to trade, but they're easy days to trade. Market's going to gap up. We probably will get Tanya. We know that's not true. We know that's not true. Now, today, I think we gap up. As we know, we're going to probably have a pullback at the open. We're going to have a pullback at the open. At some point, when that first dip is bought, we've seen this a lot of times on big gap days, right? So what I would give you is almost like this, where, at some point you gap up, you have the first dip, and then you kind of grind off the rest of the day. We see this nonstop. We see this nonstop, on big days. We had Apple have earnings out. This is up 3%. We have a few other companies that are popping up. Look at the Facebook. So what this is happening is it's going to take the tech stocks and just kind of rip them higher. This will give a lift to everything, and so that should spill over into some of the speculative names too. But Facebook, Apple, these are all playable. My one worry with the Apple is, and some of these other ones, is if you saw AMD yesterday, this thing gapped up. It had earnings beat too. Look, device able to beat, blah, blah, blah. But this, what the fuck is this? You just pulling that initial. I don't know what that is. But it faded off, majority of the day. It faded off majority of the day. Now, I don't know if Apple's going to do that, but we have seen some tech stocks fade off. So we will have to watch that first 15, 16 minutes and just see if the gap fills or not. If it holds up, then I think we gap and grind. So today will be, we'll have to keep a couple things on the eye, which is if the gap holds, then I think the market gaps and grinds, and we're just going to be sashaying around having some fun today. If this Apple and also the book face, it starts to fade off its gaps, that's going to put some sell pressure on the market, and then we'll have to see what's going on. Let's take a look at some of the other earnings plays. This VXRT, I didn't see any new news on it, but something's got it going. It's got already 3 million shares in volume, guys. That's quite a bit for the morning. I think we can still keep playing this for a little bit. Now, this company is like a giant turd, but there are days where kind of turds really work, And we have a big spot here at 10. I think that's where we'll have to we need a pullback at the open, and then we'll have to see how it reacts. We don't want to chase something up that just popped 15% in the last right? 20, 30 minutes. Like, that's going to be a little bit obscene, but I want to definitely add this to the list. I think that's going to be probably, top of the list. Flowers.com. Did everybody get their flowers ready for their mothers? When's Mother's Day? It's coming up any day. I believe so. Now, I use flowers.com for Mother's Day. But you gotta do it, because now I never remember exactly which day is Mother's Day, so you just kind of send as many as you can, as many as you can for weeks at a time to get the day right. This is a nice remount. You've got yourself a low float, $1.6 billion company. It's got barely enough liquidity, but on normal days it does trade 1 million, 1.5 million. I think we add it, but we'll have to see how much liquidity is in it. OSTK, I'm loving this one. This is my baby, guys. We haven't traded this stock in a long time. This stock's got fantastic range. You've got yourself a chart breakout here. You fairly low float. It's not a huge company. I would consider this more of a mid-cap company, right? $3 billion market cap. I mean, this is going to be, I think this is probably top of the list. We need a little bit of a pullback on it. It's already up 15%, so we can't just come in hot and chase this. But in general, like this thing, when this thing gets hot, there's nothing funner to trade. Now, it has been a big giant turd on and off for really long periods of time. We've seen that for so long. But the big hairy butt of it is that, man, when it goes, it can really go. Oh, man, fill out your 6-window layouts, guys. Make sure you got everything ready. A big part of trading is making sure that you have some good organization. So I think OSTK, that's definitely worthy of a 6-shot. We got VXRT. I saw Blink had a big push into the close. I think this one also, like, you got to remount of the 50 SMA. We want to be really, I think we got to be hot on this thing also. I know somebody mentioned Butt Plug had a PR out. This is a rounding pattern. We're getting most likely where, near the bottoms or at the bottoms of some of these battery companies. If you really think about it, they fell 80%, 70%, so on and so forth. The Butt Plug is a tricky trader because it's thick, but I do think that, you have a level here that we can trade around. 1, 2, 3, and we'll let Blizzy's the Blink master. We'll let him watch this for us today. I'll watch the Butt Plug. We're gonna split some of these up so we work as a team, a proper team, and get these things going. A lot of these battery stocks are popping up. There was another one here, THCB, that's got a little PR out. This one, the daily chart is no good on it though. Let's get back to this. Clove is still remounting the 200. At this point, this reminds me a little bit of like VXRT, where you probably have it as a daily trader you'll probably have it as a daily intraday trader for the next, couple weeks, while it kind of, fills back and fills some of this area. And we'll kind of narrow these down into Facebook's got a nice chart too. I personally don't trade these really thicker ones. It's not that Facebook's a big company or large cap big company. It's that they've got 2 billion share float stock. It means it's going to trade real thick. It's going to grind, and that's going to be a little bit tricky. Noah, this one might be out of our pay grade. A lot of people ask me if this BTX is a short. I would say yes. At some point today, probably it'll be a short. But, the gap down really takes some of the range out of it. If this thing started to grind its way back into these old highs, and you did a fake breakout, or like you got rejected over here in terms of a double top. Hey, Chris, how you doing, my brother? In terms of a double top, then I think we're going to be... Then I think you've got something. But no, this one may just be out of our pay grade. And what I mean by that is it had $10 candles yesterday, $5 candles. That's tough. I think, in trading, there's good plays, and then there's easy plays. And this is like, it's got reward, but is it easy? And that's where I think we just kind of leave those alone. Cruisers. Guys, we got news in these cruisers. RCL, I believe, had its earnings out. And then this NCLH also looks fantastic. If you see here, you got test and resistance multiple times in order to resume services of Oceania Cruise. Norwegian Cruise Line. Man, that just sounds like very regal, doesn't it? Like, if you're going to get on a cruise line, that's the one you want to get on. That just sounds, that sounds regal. Like, you're just Norwegian Cruise Line. This thing is hot. Like, there's no getting around it. We haven't made any money on this, in some time. But there was a hot period over here, over here that we were trading this. And I think it's got a nice rounding pattern over here. I would think that I think we had both of those. RCL, see this one too? Like, you get this nice rounding pattern here, guys. And, if we can cook over that trend line, I think you'll have the ability to kind of get cooking on them. Both of those are ready to roll. Man, there's a lot of stocks that are moving around. I know a lot of you guys asked about Roku. Roku actually looks to me, so it's got earnings out, so you can't swing trade it right now. But this to me looks like a nice rebounding pattern here. You've got that kind of breakout, pullback, nice remounting pattern. That's really the way to go. That's really the way to go. So that's where, I like the overall look of this. It got a couple upgrades from Wedbush today. I think that this is going to be, you can use this as a day trader. Like, this has got a good look to it. CCL also, you got yourself a nice breakout pattern over here. We may just have to go cruise life today. We haven't traded these for a while, but nothing wrong with the little cruise life. I would definitely add some of those and, frankly, take out some of the ones that are, been a little bit more difficult than, like this coin. I would always clean up your watch list. That's, the hardest thing to do in trading. But keep your watch list clean. Mine are getting so bloated. As the market starts to, heat up, it's so easy to just sit there and add like a million stocks. But you really got to keep them, clean. Otherwise, it's going to be very, very tricky to go. We got Cook, NVAX. Hey, so this NVAX had a rest day yesterday. In general, when you have a big push, man, I had so much of this shit over here and here. When you have a big push like this, see how you got about 40-point range, and you got this big dump down. You had an inside day yesterday where you had the ability, hey, Justin, how are you, by the way? We had an inside day, inside this previous breakout over here. I think this actually has a chance to go today. You got a flag pattern developing. If it may need 1 or 2 more days, but it's getting there. But I think with the VXRT pushing, there's a shot that this NVAX just gets ripping too. So NVAX, mRNA, they're all at some nice spots. But vaccines, I think vaccines are the way to go today. On the downside, look, there's a couple stocks that had some bad news out. Cara, phase 3, fails to meet primary, secondaries. That doesn't sound very good. There's quite a few of these. eBay had some bad earnings out. This thing's gapping down 8%. You got room down into the 200 SMA. There's quite a few of these. Now, this is a tricky trader, though. Now it's getting busted on earnings. You are seeing a lot of these tech stocks get smoked on earnings. You get now also at the same sweet spot. This has a big spread on it, so I'd probably leave that alone. TDOC. Fuck. You know what? Add TDOC. That one's clean. You see this thing? Like, that one's clean. Yeah, that one's clean. You got a nice 6% gap down. I love gap down shorts. Like, that's my tour de jour. I love gap down shorts. I mean, that's a priority, I think. Good. TDLC. Let's see. Got MVIS, Ford Motor Company. Riot. Yeah, Riot's just a tricky, you got a tricky chart there. Like, I don't know if that's anything anymore. I think those things are like just not our priority while they get stuck in range for a period of time. I think we got a nice, easy, happy-go-lucky list over here. OSTK is my fave. VXRT is my second fave. NCLH and RCL are my thirds. This FLWS, I don't know if it's going to have any liquidity in it, so I got to watch that thing. What we want to be doing is watching and seeing if Apple rolls over and starts to fill its gap. If it does, then that's going to make it a lot more tricky, right? If it does, it's going to make it a lot more tricky. At Blink, then we got our normal stocks, CCIV Laser, these are all basically resting, JMIA, so on and so forth. Los Tigres, Los Tigres looks fine. It's a little bit more of an expanded list than we want, but what are we going to do? Cool. That's the list. Guys, we're sticking to it. We're going to have some fun today. It's Friday, almost Friday. It's NFL Draft Day. It's the Super Bowl for the Detroit Lions. We got to make some money. I got to get my nerd hat out, my mock drafts, my paper and pencils, and we got to see what's going on. I hope class is not scheduled today, but you know what we do. That's the list. I'm sticking to it.